All right, thank you so much for staying with us on the program still this morning on ITV from our Benin Network Center. The conversation is still on, but we have a guest who is joining us, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOA. So when you hear of NOA, you ask yourself, what do they do in that agency of government? What's their job? What's the nature of what they do? But the DG, Malam Lanre Risa Oniru, is live here with me in the studio to tell us what they do. 2 years sterling leadership as the DG of the NOA, what they've achieved so far. Live here with me in the studio. Good morning and good to have you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. All right. The NOA, like we know, National Orientation Agency, but there's some persons, they will ask, what are the orientation the NOA is really giving to the people? What is the core value? Why are they there? Are people just working there, earning salaries, or it's just a name?
It's not just a name.
Okay.
It's about one of the most important agencies of government when you consider the mandate and the gap in the society that the agency has to fill. Let me put it simply. The agency has dual mandate.
Okay.
The first one is to communicate government policies, programs, and projects. And because of that, the agency has enormous infrastructure in terms of office locations.
Yeah.
Across the country, NOA has 818 office locations.
That is more than the number of local governments we have in the country.
Absolutely. You have offices in all the 774 local government. You have in the 36 states and FCT. You have the 6 zonal directorate, that is the geopolitical zones, and then you have the headquarters, totaling 818 locations, which means the agency is able to carry government messages to the nooks and crannies of the country.
Yeah.
But for the same mandate of carrying messages, it also has the responsibility to get feedback for government. So every fortnight, all across the local government, our staff generate feedback from the people, what people are saying in every community. And then we bring this back as pulse of the nation, which we send to the president, to important government functionalities for them to be able to, use as input into policy. It's just not delivering messages, it's also to get feedback.
Okay.
So that's one leg of the mandate.
Yeah.
The other leg of the mandate is to promote values and give orientation to Nigerians on the values that Nigerians cherish, that will bring unity, that will generate that interest and patriotic, feelings, and love of the country, for us to be united and have national cohesion. That is an important ingredient for national development. So these are the 2 legs of our mandate.
Okay. Talking about values, because a lot of persons may not agree with you when you talk about values. Do you think the people still have this belief in the value, especially with the way things have turned over the years? Because some persons will tell you, leave Nigeria, some kind of triggering talks because of economic hardship, the way election turns out after elections, the way public office holders sometimes, in quote, misbehave. The people saying that the value has been eroded. Do you, as the DG, agree with the people?
No, I see all those things that you have mentioned, all those maladies are not the cause of erosion of value.
So what are the causes?
They are the symptoms.
Okay.
It is because people do not have the values. That they go into election and do the wrong thing, that they go into offices and misbehave, that they, all these things that we mentioned are offshoots of lack of values.
Okay.
If we had values, all those things will not be happening. So where we missed the road was when we began to pay little or no attention to our value system.
Okay.
In the past, in this country, people still have nostalgia for what we used to be, in terms of being your brother's keeper, in terms of everybody
caring for each and everybody, looking out for one another.
Sense of duty.
That was how we
duty
were
of
trained
care.
growing up.
Yes. So it's because we know successive government did not pay attention to that. And how did that happen? We began to ignore the need to institutionalize values.
Okay.
So those institutions that promote values,
Yeah.
we no longer, we were not taking them serious. In the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, early 80s, you had in schools compulsory subject called civic education,
Yeah.
where people learn values. Not only that, you have, voluntary organizations that train children give them leadership training.
Yeah.
Value orientation and civic,
Absolutely.
like Boy Scout,
Yeah.
Girls Guides, all those voluntary institutions. They were institutions of nurturing. All these we no longer take seriously. Again, at this period, we didn't have what we have today in terms of media proliferation.
I was actually going to ask you that question,
Yes.
but I will still ask that question.
Yes, where the generation before grew up without being exposed to all these corruptive, materials, especially from foreign countries.
Yeah.
Some of them are coming through cartoons. So from the age of 2, children are exposed to materials that they should not be exposed to. If you know the content of cartoons that our children are watching, the kind of values that they are learning from it, that are completely at variance with our own value system in Nigeria, against our culture, against our tradition. And because parents felt, you're satisfying the children, they don't even know the content of
what they are giving to them.
The children. So, so it's in the last 3 decades, we have actually raised foreigners, not Nigerians, in terms of the value orientation that they have got.
Okay.
And also because we didn't put institutions in place to lead them on in life, to provide that value orientation for them, to create models for them. There were no models for them to follow. And children at the formative stage, look for examples. So if you cannot provide good examples for them, they look for examples for themselves.
And they look for the wrong one.
The wrong ones. No guidance.
Okay. Is social media, technology, a threat to your job?
It is supposed to be
a blessing.
A blessing.
Somehow.
Yes.
But it now looks like.
It looks like, yeah. So it's also, social media in itself is not a bad, occurrence.
Okay.
In this country or anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It is what you put to it. First, the kind of regulation that is there. And secondly, the kind of orientation you give to people.
Yes.
If you promote the right values, then people will also provide the right content.
Absolutely.
For on the social media. People who are committed to their country are not likely to be pumping, nefarious
violence and nefarious kind of videos
materials
out there,
on it. So it still boils down to who are we?
Okay.
As Nigerians.
Yes.
Do we have any definition? Who is a Nigerian? So until we provide an answer to who a Nigerian is, and I say definition, that if you don't fit into that definition, you begin to self-appraise and doubt your own citizenship.
Okay.
And make people like that uncomfortable. If you tell me today and you say, I'm not a good Nigerian, and I say, why? You're going to give your opinion because there's no any definition anywhere that says this is who a Nigerian
must be. Or shouldn't
What
be.
are the attributes you must find in a Nigerian?
Absolutely.
And countries to countries, they have developed this value system. Not just developing it, it is documented.
Okay.
And it is there to guide everybody.
Yeah.
So if you don't have it, it is akin to comparing, let's say, Islam and Christianity.
Yes.
And there is no Bible, there is no Quran. How are they going to be guided? From which book?
Yeah.
Are they going to understand what it means to be a good Christian or a good Muslim?
Yeah.
So you cannot know what it is to be a good Nigerian if it is not spelled out. And when you not even have that spelled out, and you have the definition of a Nigerian, and we understand the attribute of a Nigerian, and then we can use those parameters to hold ourselves accountable.
Absolutely.
You still have to ask yourself, how am I going to inculcate those values? That's why Even using the two religions as I have used as examples.
Yes.
If you have Islam and you have Christianity, you have the Bible and you have the Quran, but you don't have the churches and the mosque. Those are institutions to nurture.
Okay.
So you must also create institutions in the country that will nurture every Nigerian on the values that you have created. You know, so that's why about 2 years ago,
Yes.
we went into studying all of these things, and we also studied many countries that have strong value system. Something happened in Japan about 3 weeks thereabouts ago. You know, the road toll system collapsed.
Yes.
So for like 38 hours,
Everybody was
was
stranded.
just driving, and then you can't pay because the systems were
system
down.
collapsed, yeah.
And after they reinstated the system, and it was working, 24,000 drivers who didn't pay because they couldn't pay went back voluntarily.
Voluntarily. But that will not happen in Nigeria.
To pay, yeah, because they have strong value system.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have, nobody needs to pursue them.
Absolutely. The system
It's
is
not
there.
even on record.
The system is there.
But they felt, no, this is my country.
And it's my duty
to pay, and I didn't pay, so I have to go back and pay. And they are 24,000 drivers.
24,000.
You know, so that is what value does to a country. Absolutely. I do ask some people, I do ask this question. I was having a discussion sometimes with the people in the creative industry.
Yes.
And I asked them, have you ever come across any movie produced by an American and America lost in that movie?
It can never happen.
Whether they are fighting the Russians,
it can never happen.
Or the
they are always winning.
Or people from the space, they will win.
Yeah.
It is part of their value system.
That the mentality is a winning mentality.
Exceptionalism. They call it exceptionalism.
Yeah.
So if you're an American, you must be an exceptional human being. So how can an exceptional human being lose to another country?
Okay.
So it is ingrained in them. So this is how you nurture people, and they become part of them. And so that's why we came up with, first and foremost, we need to identify what are the values. And we are not reinventing any new thing.
What has been
all
there.
the ethnic groups have strong family system, value system, tradition and culture that are all positive and mutually reinforcing. So all we need to do is to aggregate all of these things and create a national values out of them.
Okay.
And so we came up with what we call the Nigerian Identity Project.
Yes.
There must be an identity for who a Nigerian is. And under this, we anchor it with what we call the National Values Charter.
Okay.
So a charter is an agreement. Agreement between who and who? Agreement between the country and the citizens. The country has a responsibility towards the citizens.
Yes, and the citizens also have a responsibility towards the
country. So it has to be mutual.
Absolutely. More like a husband and wife kind of
relationship. So it's a give and take relationship.
Yeah.
So now people must know what to expect from the country.
Yeah.
And when you now say the country, you talk about the leadership.
Yes.
Then when we also realize that when we talk of leadership in this country, immediately minds go to political.
Those on top, the political leaders.
Yes, they are the front line in that sector.
Yeah.
But it is all cadence of leadership. The driver in the commercial bus
is the leader.
Is the leader at that period.
Absolutely.
On behalf of the country, he must deliver values to the people. You know, the head of newsroom here, the general manager here. You know, every unit where there is a supervisor, he is the leader. He must, on behalf of the country, deliver what we call the Nigerian promise, you know, to the people.
Okay.
So the Nigerian promise has several components.
Okay.
Anybody who has found himself in a position of leadership, importantly political leadership, and every other cadence of leadership, must deliver the Nigerian promise. And the Nigerian promise have 7 components. So the 7 principles, you must know it. You know, and once you know it, if you find yourself, even if it is hard work.
Do you think with the way Nigeria is right now, people are willing to know it? Because economic hardship is there, insecurity is there.
Yeah.
Just name them.
Everybody agrees that we are in this situation because we don't have values. So people are yearning that we go back to that. People are yearning.
Okay.
And that's why there must be example from the leadership.
Okay.
People are yearning for it. Nobody, likes a situation where we become unruly.
Exactly.
Bad behavior everywhere. And the bad guys, let me use
In
that
quotes,
slang.
the bad guys
are now the one defining who we are.
Who we are, and they are not supposed to be.
They are not supposed to be. So we have handed over our country
to the bad guys.
To the bad guys.
Oh wow, this is really, really disheartening.
Exactly. So we must
take it from the bad guys.
From the bad guys, and then also create institutions to ensure that people go back to that.
Okay.
So we have the Nigerian Promise, which is, one of the components of the National Value Charter. The other component is what we call the Citizen Codes, which is what now the followers must also.
Okay, let me cut you here. My colleague in Lagos, in our Lagos studio, want to throw in a question.
Okay.
Let's hear from Joshua Okata. I'm pretty sure you can hear the DG loud and clear. Let's hear from you.
Yes, I can. Yes, thank you very much for obliging me. All right, so my question to you, sir, would be, what would you say about the poor value of orientation, especially in the society that we live in today?
What will I say
about the poor value of orientation of the society we live in today?
Yeah, that's why we say it is because of that poor value system that we have found ourselves where we are today. You understand?
Okay.
And that's why this government is taking the bulls by the horns to say, no, we must not only put institutions in place, we must support it to ensure that people inculcate the right values.
All right.
So, and that's what led to the National Values Charter, which we took to the Federal Executive Council in October last year.
Yeah.
And all the requests were approved by the Federal
by the FEC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after the approval, we commenced the implementation. So first and foremost, we came up with the National Value Charter that define who a Nigerian is.
Okay.
So if you are a leader, you know the 7 principles that must be found in you. If they are not found in you, if anybody comes to you and say you are not a real Nigerian, and you say why, he can name
the 7
what is missing.
Okay, what is missing from the 7 principles? Okay, my colleague in Abuja will also have a question for you. You are the DG, so we have all the questions for you.
I'm ready for
Let's
the
get the
questions.
orientation.
Yes.
Charity Tanko, thank you very much. You've heard the DG spoke, and you've heard him speaking. Let's hear from you in Abuja. What you have for the DG?
Well, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I want to ask a question concerning the national identity project, which is commendable. And also the Nigerian Senate has accused the NOA of not doing enough to sensitize Nigerians. So in this regard, how well is the NOA prepared to
first and foremost, I'm not aware that the National Assembly
jingles in different languages.
I think she's still talking.
So if you're
I didn't hear the latter part of.
Okay, she was talking about the National Assembly not
sensitized on this project.
There is no such thing.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. And I'm sure it would be strange for the National Assembly to say that, because we have received more than enough commendation from the National Assembly and from many quarters, especially in the last 1.5 years.
Okay.
And most Nigerians have seen a lot of difference, in what is going on in NOA.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that particular one is correct.
Okay.
So, but
you've been there for 2 years. You're still in leadership. What have you done differently that others have not done? And what do we look forward to seeing you do in the next years you will have to stay in office?
Okay, so what we have done differently is because we needed to ask ourselves a question, which we did, 2 years ago. Okay, so if there have been successive efforts, and yet we are where we are, then something must be wrong. So, and they said that if you begin to do something continuously and it is failing
and giving you the same
results, continue to do it, then
Yeah.
something must be wrong with you.
somewhere.
So we knew the easiest way out to get public applause was to throw in mantra and slogan.
Okay.
And you begin to do a lot of jingle and people begin
I've seen some of those jingles in other sister stations.
Exactly.
I've seen you in person in some of those jingles.
Yes, we know that alone is not enough. So we had to study what was wrong. That was when we discovered that first, 2 things were missing.
Yeah.
One was the fact that all past effort was geared towards citizens.
Okay.
Without the leadership coming to the table.
Okay.
So the 2 sides must come to the table.
Okay.
And it has to be a reciprocal commitment to it. That is one thing that was missing.
Okay.
And that's why we now have the Nigerian Promise and the Citizen Codes,
Okay.
with each side having 7 sets of responsibility each, and we call it 7 for 7.
All right.
The second thing that we discovered was missing was the fact that it's not enough for you to have documents defining who a Nigerian is.
Yeah.
You must create institutions
To implement the
where
document.
everybody will be nurtured on those.
Okay.
And we also recommended 7 institutions of nurturing, where every Nigerian, no matter what route you take, you will come across one of the institutions that will try to inculcate in you those value systems. And these 7 institutions are at different stages of implementation as we speak.
We're pressed for time, DG, but before I let you go, how is the agency dealing with the activities or challenges of funding its activities? Because you just mentioned you have more than 800, up to 800.
And 18.
18. How do you deal with your funding and all that? Because we know sometimes there could be fallout of agencies and funding and all that. Then you give a general wrap-up to Nigerians that are listening to you. What do they do? How do they change the orientation, have a positive orientation about Nigeria? Because if you ask 10 persons, 9 out of 10, if you ask them about Nigeria, they'll give you a negative response.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, let's put all that together.
Okay, so the source of funding, part of the challenge we have is that, yes, everybody say we must have good orientation, we must have good values, but when it comes to funding, that is something else. It's not encouraging. But the president has been very supportive. And that is why we have been able to get to where we are. And then we must thank the media also for the support, because everybody realized that there's need to change the story. And so we are getting support, things that we could have paid for. Most times we get them because people know that it is a collective responsibility for you. Even for businesses, if the environment is not peaceful, you cannot do good business. You cannot make profit. No media house can survive in a chaotic environment.
That's true.
So it's a collective responsibility, and we are leveraging on all of this to be able to get to where we are today. So and so far so good, and I think we think things will continue to improve. All
right. So your final message to Nigerians: how the orientation should change about Nigeria? Think Nigeria, think positive. Talk about Nigeria, talk positive.
Yes, we say that if you are a father or a parent and you build mansions and you don't train your children, the children may sell the mansion with
in no distant time.
Yeah, for peanuts.
Because they don't know the value.
Exactly. So, but if you train your children, they will build several mansions.
In addition to that mansion you left for them.
We have left. So that's why when you build road, you build railway, rail lines, it's not enough. Because the citizen can go to the rail and remove and sell it and do all of that, because they don't
know the value.
So it is important that we all key into this project. It is in all of our interest. So we must build Nigerians to build Nigeria.
We must build Nigerians to build Nigeria. Thank you very much, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Malam Lanre Isa Oniru, for joining us on the show this morning. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Same here.
All right, TMI continues from our Abuja Network Center. Charity Tanko is on the standby to give us a dose they have for us from Abuja. Stay with us on the program.